Hi there, it's the Cannastrologer. My name is Abby, and this is a very special 420th video. Yes, that's right. 420, 420. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm just kidding. So, but seriously, it's the 420th video, and being the Cannastrologer, being part of the cannabis industry, 420 is obviously a big number. And although April 20th, 420 has already come and gone, I do offer like a 420 special. So that's 4 cards for $20. You get 3 tarot and 1 oracle. And so as a special prize, a special just gift to you for the 420th video, anybody who subscribes to the channel and also joins and signs up for the newsletter, which I'll post below in the comments, I'm going to choose one lucky winner and you'll get a free 420 reading. So this is actually my second time doing the spread because I accidentally named the wrong card in my last one, and it kind of does make a difference. And so I was going to keep the cards here, just go through the read again, but also clarify this, you know. What I wanted to first do though is I get asked a lot, you know, what makes you the Cannastrologer? And so I wanted to talk a little bit about myself. Believe me, it is not my favorite thing in the world, but I do want to explain, you know, why I chose the Cannastrologer as, you know, my YouTube channel name, if you will. So I have been using cannabis and plant medicine since I was about 15 years old. And normally, and especially now, that's not something that I would just go out and recommend to anybody. But I will say that when you fast forward to what later became an actual diagnosis for me, little did I know is at that time I was actually self-medicating for something that ended up being diagnosed. But at that time, I thought that I was just like, you know, many young people, young adults, you know, using some kind of a substance that just made me feel better. And that was really number one, first and foremost, you know, why I self-medicated with cannabis. But there was a lot of things. Like I said, you know, I had a lot of stress. I had a lot of trauma. Don't get me wrong, I had a great childhood and, you know, wonderful friends and family. But it was hard for me to communicate, and I found myself many times, you know, masking and not always understanding everything the same way that as easily as I saw other people understanding things. But I tried hard, you know, and that was just me apparently, you know, overthinking and again, masking. So I had a lot of issues growing up with relationships and didn't know why. There was so many things that seemed harder for me, and that included communication. Ironically enough, I went to college early, and I went to college for communication because it was the only thing that fascinated me the most. But it wasn't until I was 37 and a half years old, I was already working in the cannabis industry, and I was having even more trouble focusing on words and being able to get my thoughts out correctly, communicating what exactly it was that I needed to say. And it was very frustrating for me, considering all of the studies and all of the schooling, all of the public speaking that I have done my entire life, and I couldn't put my thoughts into words. And but I'd been doing tarot for many years by this point, and that little, you know, lo and behold, it was just another form of communication for me. But I ended up going to the doctor, and the doctor recommended that I go see a neurologist. And so I went and I saw a neurologist and did a series of tests, and he came back and he said, well, yeah, you have autism. I'm like, I have what? And he's like, yeah, you're high functioning, and you also have ADHD. Surprise. And so it was a shocker. It was a huge shocker. And in fact, I was 37 and a half, and it took me about 2 years before I fully comprehended what that meant and how that had really affected my entire life up until that point. So going back, I was able to realize that, like, oh, this is why I was that weird, quirky girl. this is why it was hard for me to communicate and be on the level with so many others, because I was different in a way, right? It was really interesting, and it was why it was harder for me for things like relationships and whatnot. But ironically, at the same time, when I was about 13 years old, my mother gave me the choice whether or not I wanted to continue going to church. Now, I was a very active child. She kept us in a lot of, extracurriculars and weekend type of activities, sports and things like that. And Sundays happened to be the only day that I could sleep in if I had the choice. So I chose to not go to church and be able to sleep in that one day of the week. But ironically enough, that was exactly when I started picking up those little scrolls at the local 7-Eleven or convenience stores that had all the little horoscopes, because I knew I was a Scorpio. And so I started reading horoscopes and getting into the zodiac and astrology as early as 13 years old. And that just stuck with me my entire life. I was always reading about witchcraft and esoteric studies and metaphysical things, and it I don't want to say it subsided, but I did, once I became a mother, and I was a young mom, but once I became a mother, I kind of, put that off to the side and, focused on, I was married at the time, and focused on my children, and there's no manual for that, so I was learning, how to be a mom and how to do all the things that I thought I was supposed to be doing, not knowing that I was masking the entire time, because it wasn't natural to me. Nothing felt natural to me. And but at the same time, as I progressed and got older, like the calling to tarot and the calling to metaphysical studies and whatnot, it never stopped. It only got stronger. And so it wasn't until my 30s that I started picking back up on tarot and getting really deep into it. And then it wasn't until when COVID and the shutdown happened, that's when I noticed that everybody was suffering from burnout, basically. Even those of us in the industry that were grounding ourselves through plant medication all the time, we were getting burnt out, not from the cannabis, but just from everything else that was going on. And so I started offering tarot readings to my friends and coworkers and close family, and it was connecting. It was clicking with them, and they, told me wow, you really have a gift. And so it just kind of developed from there. And things got better, when I realized that this was part of my calling. It wasn't just, being in communication, being in the field of communication, or being in the field of cannabis, because I actually worked in communications within the cannabis field. It was so much more than that. It was a spiritual calling as well. And it's funny, because anytime that I kind of strayed away from the spiritual aspects of what I do, that's when my life would just go into complete chaos, anytime that I ventured off the path. And so I realized very quickly, Spirit is telling me I need to stick to tarot. I need to stick to, astrology and birth charts and all the things that I do. And, but I always knew that there was still a calling, a connection with cannabis and plant medicine as well. And I am an award-winning, cannabis advocate in the industry. I've multiple sales awards, for sales, both inside and outside of the cannabis industry as well. But it's this that I have a passion for. And so ultimately, when I decided I need to start doing this as a way, to help others, because it just makes me feel good, and plus it's a natural way for me to be able to communicate where I feel good about what I'm doing. Clarification, and 10:10 on the clock. Thank you, spirits. Once I realized that this was it, that's where the Cannastrologer was created. And so that's kind of my story in a nutshell. But yeah, and so what I wanted to do, because I'm going to stop talking about myself now, makes me feel uncomfortable. I pulled a couple cards, and I wish you would have seen me pull them, in the first reading, but I will clarify these too. It was a really cool spread. So the first card that I pulled was the 10 of, I'm sorry, it's number 10, but it's the Wheel of Fortune, and that's the kitchen garden. So this is talking about, like fortune coming in, being on a fortuitous path. The Wheel of Fortune is, all about cycles. It's about endings and beginnings. And so, something for those of us, that are called to listen to this read, I feel like many of us are closing out a major path or a major cycle in our life, and it's opening us up to a new one, and that's going to bring in abundance, money, pentacles, coins, wealth, prosperity, and stability, right? That's what the Wheel of Fortune is all about. So this is also the opportunity that we have. Then, Then I pulled the card Two of Water, Mallow, and this is actually the Two of Cups. Cups are about emotions and feelings and what makes us happy and, gives us excitement. And so, but this also talks about relationships, and this could be platonic relationships, but it also can mean romantic relationships as well. So I feel like, oh gosh, now I can't get these to stand up the way that I wanted. So I feel like for those of us watching this who are connecting with this message, you could have, financial stability coming in. You may be, setting yourself on a path where you're, working on your abundance, working on your fortune. But I feel like you also are going to be doing that either in partnership with somebody, whether that's business, whether that's friendship, but also it could absolutely be romance as well. If you don't already have a partner, or if you do, maybe this is like a new path for the two of you. Maybe it's like a new side hustle or some type of a side gig, And then I pulled for the third card, the Empress, Rose, which is one of my favorite flowers. Now the Empress, this is card number 3. 3 is about partnership and celebration. And the Empress, this is Taurus, Libra energy. She's all about beauty and luxury and all the finer things in life, but she's also about creation and abundance. Now when I say creation, that also means fertility. In the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, the Empress is usually depicted as pregnant. So for those of you wanting children, you may have children coming in. For those of you who don't want children or can't have children, this is talking about, the creation of projects, because anything that the Empress touches, it turns to gold. She is the queen of all queens. She has earth, air, fire, and water, and she's able to balance them all beautifully. So, this is such a beautiful card. It really, really is. But she's the queen of fortune, like she knows how to bring in money and make things fruitful and create happiness and luck, and she's very wise. So it's just beautiful card overall. You see the honeycomb, queen bee, if you will. That's what the Empress is, with the rose. So now what's interesting was the curandera of earth, sweet grass. And so I found it really funny because, cannabis, grass, sweet grass. But this, I had said earlier, this was the Queen of Pentacles, and it's actually the King, and that's where I messed up. But it actually makes more sense when I look at the Empress and plus that Two of Water, Two of Cups, because I said there's a partnership there, right? And I believe that that's what this is right here. I feel like there is a King of Pentacles coming in. That could be Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus energy. Doesn't have to be. Or they could have that somewhere in their chart. But this definitely, I feel, is that partnership, that Two of Cups partnership. Somebody that's coming in. Now, also, this is Pentacles, Earth. And that's all about abundance, money, coin. And we're talking about fortune here and creating new projects and new endeavors that is going to bring in luck and money. That's what this is. Right behind him is the Magician, the Sunflower. And the Magician is all about, being able to take any kind of negative energy and transmuting and transforming it into something abundant usually for themselves, but also for the greater good. The Magician is magic, and they just know how to alchemize what they have and make it more, more for them. Which is what, also the King of Pentacles is all about. He can be a little greedy, but it's all about the Benjamins, right? Also a very fatherly and loving family type of personality, although all they do is work. So long hours at the office, that type of stuff, money on the mind all the time, right? But that's, the Empress is all about it too. She already has, what I love about the Empress is she doesn't necessarily need a king. She doesn't necessarily even need the Emperor, right? She's got it handled all completely on her own. So whether I'm talking to a male and or female, because everybody has both masculine and feminine energies within them, and it's just about balance. But the Empress energy is all about being able to handle it all on her own, but she still would love that support, in a relationship of any kind. And that's where he comes in, and it works really well, especially when we're talking about finance, money, and that type of energy. And that's where I'm seeing this Wheel of Fortune and partnership. Behind the Magician even is the Six of Air, cattail, and cats may be significant. You could have cats. Don't have to though. But cattail, sweetgrass, and sunflowers. That would make a really pretty bouquet actually. But the Six of Air talks about moving from choppy waters, turbulent times, to calmer waters, basically. It's also about communication and being able to communicate clearly in order to get past any kind of stagnation. So I feel like many of us are probably coming out of that type of energy, using the Magician energy to alchemize and transform situations that we've been in order to bring it into abundance with, this King of Pentacles and Empress type of energy. Now, what's interesting is then I pulled underneath the deck the fertility card. That's what we saw first. And again, with that Empress, it's fertility. It's talking about, creation. Now, again, it doesn't have to be actual, physical, fertility, being pregnant or anything like that. It can, absolutely. So if you're looking, to get pregnant, then you have the possibility for sure. But what this actually says is, let all take root, seed and sprout, let new life be all about. And so that can mean new projects. It could be, it's like talking about planting a garden, obviously, the Wheel of Fortune kitchen garden, getting it all out there, planting all the seeds and watering it and watching it grow into something fruitful and beneficial. It's for many of us, I really do feel like, we're starting these new cycles and going to be, cultivating something just absolutely glorious, right? And behind that is destiny, and I feel like this is somebody's destiny. And if I'm talking to you and you guys are vibing with this, make sure you drop a comment in the comments below, please. But the card that we had at the top of the deck is number 27, one of my favorite numbers, and that's harmony. As I create, I will share harmony divine with love and care. And so I feel like, this King of Pentacles and the Empress will create some type of a harmony together in a beautiful partnership that's going to be very, very fruitful. Now, what was also very interesting, if you see here, we've got 2737, and that's, 10 numbers apart, right? It's always really interesting when numbers come up like this in patterns. That's the autistic side of me. I see patterns all the time. But I feel like in this case, there could be like a 10-year difference in this partnership. Doesn't have to be, right? But there could be a 10-year difference in this partnership. So you may be, meeting somebody older or potentially somebody younger, but there could be like an age gap. But it's going to be very harmonious. And whatever you guys create, it's going to take root and really blossom into a beautiful kitchen garden, Wheel of Fortune, that type of energy. So what I'm going to do real quick is clarify this just because, actually, I don't have a lot of extra time. This probably is just as long as the last video. But since we're here, I want to see what else. Okay, so we are going to clarify for the General Collective for our 420 reading. Underneath the deck, we've got the Two of Pentacles that talks about work-life balance. And I see that, you know, if we're looking at a relationship here, again, I said it earlier, this might be like a partnership, but also like a romance where you guys are working together. So it's interesting. All right, let's clarify the Wheel of Fortune, please, for the General Collective 420 reading. Wheel of Fortune, please. I love this. The Star. Hopes, dreams, wishes. This is harmony coming into balance, right? That's what the Star is all about. This is Aquarius energy. We are in the age of Aquarius right now, but this is going to be, I feel like there could be, you know, the Star also talks about like celebrities and center stage, if you will. So there could be, you know, something around that. I don't know why I'm getting it, but there could be something around that. But it's going to make you feel like a star, right? What's the Two of Water for this 420 reading? Well, we already talked about threes with the Empress, but this is the Three of Pentacles, and that's exactly what this is about, partnership. And with that Two of Water, you know, I mentioned, you know, this could be like a business partnership or a platonic relationship. And this talks about, you know, partnership in terms of pentacles, money, coins, abundance. This absolutely could be like some type of a business partnership, and definitely going to be fortuitous when working together. And what do we have for the Empress, please? What's the Empress for a 420 reading? What's the Empress for a 420 reading? What is the Empress, please? Woo. Okay, I'll take both of them. They both flipped over because it's just as gorgeous. So we've got the Two of Cups again, clarifying. So this is definitely going to be a relationship here. There's a beautiful relationship coming in. And then we have the Fool, new beginning. I feel like this could be a new person. I don't think this is going to be an old person. Now, again, if you're already, you know, with somebody, this could just be like a new project, a new venture with that person, right? But for many of you, I feel like it's a completely brand new person. The reason why I say completely brand new is because then down here, I see the Page of Swords. Now, the Page of Swords, pages are messengers. They're also usually somebody that's younger. Swords are all about communication, but it's also air sign energy. It could be Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. And then the Page of Swords, this is talking about like a message coming in. It's talking about somebody wanting to communicate something with you. And again, they could be younger, and I do see like an age gap here. Doesn't have to be 10 years, right? But could be. But I feel like, you know, they want to communicate something with you in order to move this forward. I really love this energy. It's nothing but beautiful cards. And all I see is harmony, abundance, and creation, fruition, right? Fertility, if you will. So that's what I have for you for the 420 reading. I really appreciate your time and energy and your patience as I, you know, ramble about myself. But for those of you who are interested in the cannabis industry, even just basic, you know, education on it, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. At the same, you know, with the same aspect, if you are interested or have questions about autism or ADHD, I'm by no means any kind of expert. Like I said, I only in the last few years learned about it myself, for myself. But I'm, you know, I'm a student of life, and that's actually Page of Swords. Oh my gosh, Page of Swords energy. Behind that is the World, absolutely gorgeous. King of Swords behind that. the world also talks about cycles, endings and beginnings, but I feel like this is definitely a new cycle for many of us. But the Page of Swords is like a student of life, inquisitive, asking questions, wanting communication, wanting to know things. And I feel like, you know, we could be getting these answers, you know, maybe even potentially from a King of Pentacles, somebody who's really good with their money and really stable in where they are in life. And again, you know, masculine, feminine, male, female, all of that can interchange. It just depends who you are. But if you have any questions on any of that, you know, this is why I'm here. This is how I communicate. And if you want to know more, please just reach out. I have all of my contact information in the description below. Please make sure that you join the newsletter and like, share, and subscribe. That way you can get entered for the free 420 reading. But as you know, it's together we grow. I really appreciate you, and I look forward to reading for you again in the near future. See you on the flip side. Peace.